Even though NVIDIA is up over 250% year to date, I actually think at these levels, it is more likely to be undervalued than overvalued. We'll come in here, take a look at their Q3 results, which just came out, and talk about the valuation for NVIDIA, and take a look at the technical chart patterns and see where this one is likely headed in the near future. As always, if you are new to the channel and find this type of content valuable, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button below. NVIDIA Corporation, ticker symbol NVDA, down roughly 1% in the after hours after reporting their Q3 results. Shares are trading closer to $494 a share. Their Q3 results absolutely blew and smoked estimates over on Wall Street as they posted record revenues of $18.12 billion. That is up 34%, not year over year, 34% quarter over quarter, and up over 200% from a year ago. Data center revenues now topping $14.5 billion. That is also up nearly 280% year over year and up over 41% just quarter over quarter. This is absolutely shocking. Non-GAAP earnings coming in at $4.02, up nearly 6x from a year ago and up 50% quarter over quarter. Guys, estimates on Wall Street for their top line were closer to $16.11 billion. They posted revenues of $18.12 billion. That's nearly a $2 billion beat on that top line. And then EPS estimates were at $3.39. They posted just over $4. Again, that is nearly a 60 cent, close to 63 cent beat on that bottom line. They actually came ahead of their Q4 estimates, both on that EPS and revenue side. And so again, estimates on Wall Street will likely have to continue to move higher as they've already moved higher over the past 3 months. Yeah, they're likely way off and have to keep going up. Now, as investors, what I want you to see is a trend here with NVIDIA. They did this at the end of their Q2 results where they guided for roughly $16 billion in top line revenues for this Q3. They came up over that by nearly $2 billion. They did the same thing in their Q2 results, and I'm guessing they'll be doing the same thing for their upcoming Q4. In terms of guidance for NVIDIA is coming in at $20 billion for that revenue side, plus or minus 2%. Again, my expectations for revenues for NVIDIA, yeah, they'll come in here and blow this number out of the water once again, likely come over $22 billion, closer to $22 billion. And that will be, again, a big jump year over year and a big beat for estimates over on Wall Street. Now, the most surprising thing is with this stock up over 250% year to date, you must be thinking, yeah, NVIDIA is trading rich, but in fact, you come in here, take a look at the forward price to earnings. It is under 30 times, and that is on the expectations that NVIDIA is going to be earning $16.96 in terms of their EPS line in that upcoming 2025 fiscal year for NVIDIA, which is next calendar year. Yeah, again, if they just blew EPS numbers out of the water, if they just posted EPS of close to $4 for this Q3, and estimates on Wall Street will likely go much higher for that upcoming Q4 and subsequent fiscal year 2025, NVIDIA is likely trading closer to a 25, maybe even just a 20 times forward price to earnings for a company that's expected to grow their earnings by over 200% in this year and over 50% next year. And again, expected to grow their top line by over 50% next year, which will likely, again, be much higher. Yeah, a 25, even a 20 times forward price to earnings is certainly not expensive, and in my opinion is actually far too cheap for a company growing at this rapid of a clip, for a company that's doing buybacks, for a company that's increasing their dividend. Yeah, for a company that is extremely well run, a just 25 times forward price to earnings is far too low in my opinion. In terms of gross margins, yeah, those over at NVIDIA, again, expanded rapidly as year over year, your gross margins were up over 18.9%. Last year, we were sitting at just 56% gross margins. Now we are closer to 75% gross margins. In terms of operating income, that is up over 600% year over year. And your net income is also up close to 600% year over year. These numbers are just fabulous and they are expected to get better. You see non-GAAP gross margins for this upcoming Q4 is expected to come in at 75.5% quarter over quarter. Again, that is expanding gross margins. That is just absolutely mind-blowing, and I don't want you to think I'm just glossing over these numbers. They're absolutely phenomenal. You see data center revenues were at $14.5 billion for this most recent Q3. You see Q2, they were at $13.5 billion of total revenue. They just surpassed that in terms of their data center segment alone. You see across the board, quarter over quarter, revenues were higher. Gaming coming in at $2.8 billion. That was up nearly 80% year over year. Professional and visualization also up quarter over quarter, or auto up, and OEM also up. So again, NVIDIA posting revenues of nearly $18 billion. Last year we were just at $5.9 billion. Absolutely stellar. This is a company that's hard to compare even on a year over year basis, because frankly, the numbers just look absurd. They don't look comparable at all. You see gross profit was up nearly 4x from a year ago, and what's even better is that their operating expenses hardly budged in order to nearly 4x their gross profits, as operating expenses coming in at 2.9, we'll call that $3 billion, and last year we were sitting at $2.5 billion. This company is growing like a startup, and I don't think Wall Street is caught up on it just yet. You see shares outstanding did decrease year over year. They are also having a buyback in place, and so reducing their shares outstanding. Everything over at NVIDIA on an income statement looking absolutely stellar. In terms of their balance sheet, yeah, it just even gets better. They have a ton of cash that they've added onto their balance sheet, sitting on nearly $18.2 billion worth of cash. Total current assets coming in at $32.6 billion, with just over $9 billion in current liabilities. From a balance sheet, everything looking great. They don't have a ton of long-term debt. And you see over the last 9 months that has actually gone down. So NVIDIA, again, paying off their long-term debts. In terms of cash flows, cash is absolutely flowing through this business like it never has before. We bring down that $9.2 billion worth of net income over the last 3 months. We get to add back some stock-based compensation, depreciation, and we get to net cash provided by operating activities at $7.3 billion for 3 months. A year ago, we were sitting at just $392 million. That is a big jump year over year. They purchased nearly $5.3 billion worth of marketable securities. They also bought back nearly $3.8 billion worth of their common stock in this most recent 3 months. NVIDIA doing very shareholder-friendly things, paying off some debt, repurchasing common stock, and of course, growing their revenues and earnings at a rapid clip. Now, moving on to the technical analysis for NVIDIA, this is absolutely in an elevator fashion up, and actually I think is setting up for a good entry point. Now the stock is down nearly 1% in the after hours on these fantastic results. I think that's not mainly because of the results NVIDIA posted, but likely due to just the fact that NVIDIA has ran up nearly 250% year to date. There is naturally going to be some profit taking, and I think, in my opinion, although the results for NVIDIA look fantastic, I wouldn't be surprised if the stock sort of consolidates in this pattern. It has been since really August of this year, between the ranges of 400 all the way up to 500, which is a big range, but it is seeing some consolidation after this monster rally higher. Now, in my opinion, I think it is easy to feel FOMO in a stock like NVIDIA and sort of chase it at the top. But in my opinion, I think it's better to wait for pullbacks, and no doubt you'll see pullbacks in a stock like NVIDIA close to 10-15%. You saw this back in October. You saw this again back in September. A decline of nearly, we'll call that 15% over the course of a month. And so no doubt you'll see pullbacks like this, and I think pullbacks for NVIDIA close to $400, even closer to $450, that can absolutely be bought. Again, a stock like this in an uptrend, pullbacks can be bought with the fundamentals supporting those pullbacks. Yeah, this is looking like a fantastic long-term buy and hold in any portfolio, regardless if you're overweight tech. I think NVIDIA is one of those companies that will thrive over the long term. They have the market dominance in the AI race. They are the leader in the semiconductor space. I think it's important to have a stock like this on your watch list. Mark out some areas. Personally, for me, I think the support line can be moved up closer to $406 a share, and then I would set another support line closer to $450 a share. And yeah, if NVIDIA does come down to those levels, in my opinion, this would be a strong buy on any significant pullbacks, considering how good the fundamentals are, considering their revenues are up over 200% year over year, and they're guiding for revenues to come in at $20 billion with expanding gross margins, expanding profitability. Yeah, this stock is nowhere near done, and I think it has a long way to run. Again, I wouldn't chase it at the top. I wouldn't get FOMO'd in. It will for sure absolutely see pullbacks over time, and I think those pullbacks can be good accumulating opportunities for a stock like NVIDIA. That's my take on NVIDIA Corporation. Absolutely phenomenal results. The expectations for the stock has been high for a few quarters, and again, they blew them out of the water. And from a valuation perspective, this stock actually isn't trading overly expensive and is rather probably undervalued instead of being overvalued, considering how fast they are growing and considering how much they are beating estimates over on Wall Street by. Let me know your thoughts on NVIDIA in the comment section below. As always, thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.